Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says sharing of classified information in a Signal group chat is not a surprise to anyone who paid attention during his confirmation hearing that just happened in January.
The totality of your own writings and alleged conduct would disqualify any service member from holding any leadership position in the military, much less being confirmed as the Secretary of Defense.
Do you think that the way to raise the minimum standards of the people who serve us is to lower the standards for the Secretary of Defense?
You're not qualified, Mr. Hegseth. You're not qualified. You talk about repairing our defense industrial complex. You're not qualified to that. And you are asking us to lower the standards to make you the Secretary of Defense simply because you are buddies with our president-elect.
And yet the Senate still voted to confirm the Fox News Weekend hosts with no experience managing a large organization. Joining me now is Tom Nichols, staff writer for The Atlantic and MSNBC political analyst and former Senator Claire McCaskill. Claire, let me start with you. And there are some people that might be watching and say, why are you all still talking about this? And it was important to us to continue to talk about this because it matters. Our nation's national security matters. What the people in charge of this government do matters. And the fact that they have continuously lied to us, at least over the last 24 to 48 hours, that matters too. It is a decision. It is a choice to lie.
Yeah, their lies are insulting too, Simone. I mean, they're insulting. Tom has served as faculty at the War College and is deeply steeped in these issues. I served on the Armed Services Committee for 12 years and had to go into the SCIF for discussions much less sensitive than what weapons are being used in a timeline for an attack that's occurring sometime in the future. So it is insulting that they're lying. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard pretending she doesn't know where she was or what phone she was on. You know, they did a scramble before these hearings and all got their acts together and decided what they were going to say. And frankly, the notion that this is not classified is ridiculous. And here's the point I really want to make. Give me a sec. The military that is serving right now and the CIA agents that are in the field, imagine what they feel right now. They are not only watching a double standard in action because they all know they would be out if they did this. They would be in major trouble, potentially court-martialed. I'll defer to Tom to clarify that if he wants to. And then watching them lie. These are their leaders. These are who they depend on to protect them. So I can't decide which is worse, the lies or the fact they did it in the first place. Because in this instance, the cover-up is got to be so demoralizing to America's intelligence community and the military.
You know, Tom, when I worked for the vice president in the White House, there were many times, actually, I had to make the decision not to lie. And today, I just kept coming back to an instance while we were overseas, and something happened to where that was very serious, where we had to hold our traveling party. We had press with us, lots of, important people. And when it was time to move again, we held folks for like 2 hours. And I was in the back with the vice president, her senior advisors, all these government folks. And I said, well, we have to tell the reporters what happened. And folks in the room said, oh, do we really have to tell them? And I looked at the vice president. I said, well, it's the vice president's choice if she would like to make the traveling press aware of what occurred today, or if she would like for me to tell them something else. And the vice president looked at me and she said, I am not a liar. And I said, I didn't take you to be a liar, ma'am, so we are going to tell the truth. And we went through all the proper channels to tell the truth. But it is a choice to lie on this, Tom. And it is the words I would like to use are not appropriate for national television. How about that?
You know, it's a choice to lie, and I'm going to cut slack to politicians throughout all of recorded history for saying that sometimes, they shade the truth, sometimes they lie, sometimes they don't want to admit things. This administration, and you saw this in his first term, in Trump's first term, they're lying when telling the truth would be easier. That's the other thing that's kind of just incredible about this, and telling the truth would be less damaging. The hearings today, the only thing worse, and I was thinking about what Claire was saying about this, The only thing worse than them lying about this would be as if they were telling the truth and saying, I don't remember where I was. I can't remember what phone I'm on. I don't really know if that's classified. I don't recall if that's classified. Hey, you're the director of the CIA. You're the director of national intelligence. It's your job to know when things are classified. It is your job to know when you're on an unsecure communications line. There are staff all around you whose only job is to prevent things like this from happening. And so, you're left with exactly that problem of either you're sending the message to all of the people out there who follow the rules and who protect secure information and saying there's two standards. There's one for the little people and then there's one for us. Or you're saying we are so dreadfully incompetent that we don't even know when we're looking at classified information. And obviously I don't buy that latter explanation. They know what they're looking at. They knew the stuff they were looking at as classified. I don't think there was anybody on that chat who really somehow said, oh, I'm sure this is all completely, harmless and unclassified information. The choice in the end was to say, get through it, stonewall, and hope that, as most Donald Trump scandals do, that this will blow over in a day or two.
Except it's not blowing over, Claire. You've got a number of Democrats, House Democrats just today, that called for Hegseth to resign or be fired. Take a listen.
Leader Jeffries also sent a letter to the president yesterday calling for Pete Hegseth to be fired immediately. Do you agree with the leader?
He should be fired. I agree he should be fired.
We also had Jason Crow saying it's outrageous, it's a leadership failure, and it's why Secretary Hegseth, who undoubtedly sent classified information via this chain, must resign immediately. Chrissy Houlihan also noted when she served in classified environments, and had this happen to her, she would have walked her resignation in immediately. Crow is also a veteran. Claire, I think this is an opportunity, and I shudder to use these terms, but for Democrats to stand up and encourage their Republican counterparts to do the same.
Yeah, we cannot quit talking about this. This should never go off the headlines. This is something that there has to be investigations. Those investigations need to be covered thoroughly by every journalist. Now, they've lost the Wall Street Journal. They've lost the National Review. They've even lost Barstool Sports. So they're clearly, even within the world of their media ecosystem, they are struggling with this issue. And I am very encouraged that Roger Wicker asked the Inspector General to investigate, because the Inspector General is an infantryman like Hegseth, except he doesn't do performative. He's a real Inspector General. He was a colonel. He left the military in 2015, has worked in the Inspector General. He was an Eagle Scout, Simone. If it's an expedited IG report, this guy knows his way around the military. He understands his job as an independent person to look at potential wrongdoing. And I was really encouraged that Roger Wicker is way more important at this point than all the Democrats, but all the Democrats should not let up.